If you would like to play on guitar what you hear in your head, but you find that very, very difficult, this is the right video for you. I'm gonna give you super practical things to work on so that you can work on your ear training and be better at playing what you hear in your head. So let's dive in right away. The first thing you want to work on is to easily be able to locate intervals on the fretboard. There are many kinds of intervals. Let's say I start from C on the 3rd fret, 5th string. You've got the minor second, the major second, the minor third, the major third, the perfect fourth, the tritone, the perfect fifth. So the 4th and the 5th are called perfect and all the others are minor or major. Then you have the minor 6th, the major 6th, the minor 7th, and the major 7th. And you can also count an octave jump. So when you have a melody in your head, each note of the melody goes to a next note, and there's a distance between both notes, and that's what we call an interval. So it means that each time that you don't know where to go and how to translate that in your head on the fretboard, if you know the distance of your intervals really, really well, it means that you know where to go next. So that's why we're gonna work on that. And the easiest way for beginners is to use songs as a reference that you know very well and that use those intervals very, very clearly. Everyone's list is different because we might have listened to different songs, but I'm gonna share my own list. So I'm gonna start from C again. The first one, the minor second, is pretty universal. It's the main theme from Jaws. Da-da. Da, 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 with the sharks approaching, right? So that's a good trick. And this one is pretty easy because the note is so close to the one you were at the beginning. For the major second, it's the beginning of Happy Birthday. Happy birthday. So if you hear two notes and you're able to sing Happy Birthday, you know it's a major second. For the minor third, it depends for people, but I like to use the main theme from Harry Potter. So the first two notes, da, 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 da. So if I hear two notes, and I'm able to do in my head, da, 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 I know it's the minor third. For the major third, I use When the Saints Go Marching In. Oh, when the saints go marching in. So the first two notes, oh, when the saints, that's a major third. For the perfect fourth, this is the bride song. Do, 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 here comes the bride. So that was it. That one is pretty clear. Or you could use the Mozart song, Eine kleine Nachtmusik. So there's a lot of perfect fourths in this one too. For the tritone, I use the opening of The Simpsons. The Simpsons, The Simpsons. That one is pretty clear too. For the perfect fifth, I use Star Wars. Dum, da, 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 da. So that's a perfect fifth. For the minor sixth, this is an old song called The Entertainer. You probably heard it before, right? So that's a lot of minor sixths in succession. Today, today, today. So I like to use songs that are using the interval many, many times to reinforce it, like this one. For the major sixth, I use an Italian opera theme. This is La Traviata from Verdi. It goes like this. You might know this one, right? So this is a lot of major sixths, one after another. Major six, major six, major six, until we go elsewhere. So I love to use this one. For the minor seventh, this one, I'm going to use the Star Trek original theme. It really shows that I'm a nerd, right? Star Wars, Star Trek. So it goes... Da, da, So the first interval, really clear a minor seventh. Or if you're a fan more modern music, you could use the Red Hot Chili Peppers Can't Stop, right? So that's a minor seven. And for the major seven, that's a really dissonant interval. You could use the 80s hit called Take On Me. Take on me. The first time he says take on me, that's a major seventh. Or you could use the Led Zeppelin song, the immigrant song, right? So that's the same thing, a major seventh. And then for the octave jump, many people like to use Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Somewhere over the rainbow. So there are all your tricks and songs to remember all the intervals. The next step is to be able to play them from elsewhere on the fretboard, because now I started from C all the times, and that was not the original key of all of these songs. It was pretty much everywhere. But to be able to do it from many points on the fretboard, if I start here from E, for example, I need to be able to locate all of my song examples, right? Happy birthday, and so on, right? So that you can refresh your ears and be able to do it from many different notes. Then you can pick 2 notes at random on the fretboard and try to make your brain work to find what is your example song on this one. So if I do, for example, 2 notes at random. So what's the song that comes to mind? The Simpsons. So I know it's a tritone, right? If I do, I don't know, like this. The entertainer, so that means it's gonna be a minor sixth. If I do something like happy birthday, that means it's a major second, and so on. So that's something that you can spend a while practicing to recognize your intervals like this, because now once you're good at that and you hear a melody in your head, now you can just start from the starting note of your melody and use your songs to dictate what is going to be the next note. So if I have a melody in my head and it goes I'm gonna try to hum the first note to find my starting point. That was a C note, right? Like we were at the beginning, right? So you can hum it and find until it matches. And then what's the second note? What's my reference song? The Star Wars. So it means it's a perfect fifth. And then so I know the next note is a minor second away, right? And then the next note is when the saints, right? So I know where my next note is, and so on. So now I can play in my head what I had in my head easily. And after a while, you want to let go of the songs. You want to hear the intervals for as they are, right? Because the songs are a crutch that is great to use at the beginning, but at a certain point, you want to see the melodies in your head as part of a whole and not just one note going to the next every single time. Usually, it's going to follow some kind of scale or some kind of key. So in my case, I start from my note right here. I know it's a leap of a fifth because of my Star Wars theme, but from that point, I know that the next note is actually the minor sixth compared to my key of C, right? And that one is an octave, and that one is a major seventh. To see it as a whole in your key is going to help you go even faster in the future. And then the next step is to hear not only notes, but hear chords. You might hear in your head notes of a melody, but also chords to go underneath the melody. So the way to work on that is to play full chords and try to hum in individual notes of the chord. So I highly recommend starting with chords that are spreaded, right? A spread triad chord, like this one, for example. Right? That's an E major chord, but one note of the chord has been spreaded on top to let each note ring and leave the space to each note, right? So if I play that, I have the root at the bottom, the fifth in the middle, and the third of the chord on top. I can play that as a big block and try to hum one note at a time. The bottom note, for example. And then check if that was right. Yes. Then the top note. Yes, and the hardest is always the middle note. Because when you are able to locate all the notes that you need in your chord, you can deduce what kind of chord that you need. If I know that I need in my chord, then I know that I need an E major chord, and so on. And once you get really, really good at doing that, you could do it for really complex chords like these. Right? So I could say, okay, I'm going to concentrate on singing the second note. Or the note on the third string. The note on top. And then all the notes. So that's the expert level. You might not be there. That's too advanced for you. But what I recommend is to take, for example, a chord that you already know, let's say a D major, and try to focus on humming one string. Let's say I'm going to focus on the second string. Let's focus on the top string. On the third string. And once you get good, you are great at really locating what chords you need to. So I highly recommend starting with what I call spread triad chords, like I said, because they're easier because the notes are separated. And if you don't know how to play spread triad chords, I have a gift for you. I have a free course. It's a 45 minutes mini course with video lessons and downloadable chord charts and exercises that you can get. You can click on the first link in the description box and enroll for free. This is my gift to you for watching my video until the end. I'm going to show you how to play spread triad chords from many different points on the fretboard, how to play major, minor, diminished, suspended spread triad chords, and how to play them fluently on the fretboard. And then you will be able to use those to work on your ear training, to be able to play the chords that you hear in your head. So once again, you can get it. First link in the description box. That's my gift to you. And if you're new on the channel, you can subscribe to get all my future lessons. And I'm going to see you real soon. Until next time, au revoir.